My fiance Derek and I are both in our late 20s, and we're child-free. No kids, no plans on kids. He supported me through getting my bachelor's in nursing school, and now I'm supporting him through college. We live in a moderately cramped studio and are saving for a down payment on a nice house outside the city. Derek's dad and stepmother, his half-brother's mother, died in a horrific accident that I don't want to name or specify for privacy reasons. I'm trying my best to support Derek through this, and I've taken over funeral planning. Unfortunately, his dad and stepmother were both broke, and I'm currently paying for the funeral out of pocket. No one in his family can contribute. Since the accident, his brother, a young teen, has been at their aunt's house. He hates it there. Apparently, he has to sleep on the floor, and she has 5 young kids that she makes him babysit. I feel for the kid. I'm sure it's awful. Derek wants to have his brother move in with us, but I'm not comfortable sharing a room with this boy that I've met twice. I also don't want to support him. That's at least a 6-year commitment that I never signed up for. I don't even want kids. Derek has suggested we move into a bigger apartment, but our studio is about as cheap as it gets in the city. We lucked out and have been here for 5 years, and the landlord has never raised the rent. So if we move, it'll probably cost around $3,000 to move, and an extra $1,000 per month at least, not to mention an extra mouth to feed, school clothes, and supplies to buy, etc. It doesn't feel fair to me at all, and I feel like Derek is using the fact that he supported me for 4 years against me. Yes, he supported me, but it was much cheaper to pay for 2 people in a studio apartment than to support 3 in a bigger, more expensive place. So the deal was for him to support me and for me to support him, not him and his brother. He just started school this semester. He has essentially 4 more years to go. That's 4 years of me having to support a household. And what if we break up? I'll have spent 4 years supporting a kid that I don't want for nothing back. I suggested Derek drop out of school and get a job so he can contribute if he wants to support his brother. And I said that I'd pay for him to go back to school after his brother graduates high school. Derek doesn't want to put off college for another 6 years, which I don't necessarily blame him. But his brother will be safe and fed at his aunt's house. According to both of them, that isn't good enough. I grew up in foster care, and I didn't always have somewhere safe to stay. So I guess I'm biased. Am I the idiot for not wanting to support my fiance's younger brother? Oh wow, what a terrible situation. Your reasoning is fair. You didn't want kids, didn't sign up for kids. Your life is not set up for kids. But that's his brother, and he feels responsible for caring for his family. So if you marry this man, his burdens become yours and vice versa. This kid is a very young teen. I'm sure that he wishes his parents weren't dead. You are the idiot. You're well within your rights, but being technically correct doesn't preclude you from being an idiot. I feel exactly the same way. And also, bad things happen in life. It sucks. It sucks a lot. It's messy. It's often not what you signed up for, but that's just life. Imagine if something life-altering happens to you, and your husband suddenly says, "I didn't sign up for this." I won't be making any more lifelong commitments to her if she's going to bail when things get tough. Just FYI on the finance side, the kid would likely qualify for deceased parents' benefits, which might help with the food and the rent. I could never turn away my significant other's sibling in such a desperate situation, but technically no, I guess you don't owe it to him or anyone. Heads up though, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up a deal breaker in your relationship. Update 1. Am I the idiot for not wanting to support my fiance's younger brother? So I did the math on the cost of him supporting me versus me supporting him and his brother, and made an Excel sheet and everything. On average, he spent about $1,400 a month supporting us over the years I was in school, give or take. My presence cost him an additional $300 a month than if he were to live in the studio alone. So essentially, feeding me and paying for the basics cost him around $15,000 over the 4 years I was in school. We really have scraped by the last several years. No eating out, no Christmas gifts, etc. I've already paid $10,000 for his parents' funeral. Moving would cost around $3,000, and that alone would cost nearly as much as he spent on supporting me. If we moved to an average 2-bedroom apartment in the area, our monthly expenses would be roughly around $2,700, and that's without me buying anything nice for his brother, no school trips, no decent clothes, etc. It would cost me around $1,200 currently to live alone in our studio. So he was paying roughly $300 additional a month to provide for me, whereas in the future, I'd be paying at least $1,500 a month to provide for him and his brother. It's just not even comparable. Not the idiot at all. This is a huge commitment. Your fiance doesn't want to make any adjustments or contributions. He wants you to support both of them in a situation that's not currently ideal. Who's to say he'll like your place any better? Your fiance needs to bring more to the table. But you did the math, and if it's correct, he spent $15,000 spread out over 4 years. You're expected to pay a lump sum, pay $10,000 for the funeral, plus $3,000 for moving, plus new furniture, more expensive rent, all in a few months. You'd be paying all of this. You're expected to essentially drop the same amount he did over 4 years right now, plus support him and the kid for another 4 to 6 years. Tell him you can pick up the tab for the move and the funeral, but it makes you even, and he'll need a job to pay his share and the kids right now. He's not willing to compromise anything. This is a big ask and a big change of plans. Heck, he didn't even offer to get a part-time job to cover the cost of the kid. Just expects that you would be covering everything still. I'm probably going to get hate for this, but his whole family left a very young teen behind with absolutely nothing set aside to provide for him, and then expect you to work it out. If you're adamantly opposed to raising children, period, then you must convey that to your boyfriend and prepare to break up immediately. Update 2. Am I the idiot for not wanting to support my fiance's younger brother? So, Derek came home, and we had a long 2-hour or so chat about what taking on this child would entail. I showed him my Excel sheet that I made of what expenses would look like. I suggested he delay school so he could work to support his brother or look into Social Security benefits and get a part-time job to cover his brother's expenses. He put his foot down and said that since I didn't have to work while I went to school, he shouldn't have to either. He thinks that since we're engaged, my money is his money. I asked what caring for his brother would be like and how he'd even get him to school, how he would make time to cook for his brother, help him with homework, etc. He said that with both of us working together, we could figure something out. Ultimately, I don't want a child. I've been child-free for a reason. It's because I care about my free time and money. I told him the only way I'd agree to take in his brother and move would be if he at least got a part-time job that covered the roughly $1,100 difference between what I'm spending to support us both right now and the cost of a larger apartment and an extra person to be responsible for. He would also need to agree to take sole responsibility for parenting him. I don't want to take him back and forth to school every day, be responsible for making sure he eats, etc. Long story short, Derek gave me an ultimatum: support him and his brother or we split. It was pretty clear he was bluffing, but I agreed. Our rental agreement is month to month, so I told him I'd let our landlord know I'd be out before the first of the month. He could take over the rental agreement. I'm currently packing my stuff to go stay with a friend, but I should be able to find a place pretty soon. Derek has been begging me to stay. He has no job or way to pay for rent next month, so I offered to calculate what I owe him for supporting me, and after doing some math on what I've spent the last 4 months, including the funeral expenses, I'll be sending him roughly $3.5K. It should hold him over for at least 2 months, enough time for him to find a job. He's been begging me to stay, but I don't think I will. The fact that he gave me an ultimatum like that feels gross. He wasn't willing to work at all, and I honestly think he would have pushed all the responsibilities of raising his brother off on me. Never thought I'd be in this position, but I'll be fine. At least I can finally adopt a cat after wanting one my whole life. Derek hates cats. I may be reading this wrong, but it very much seems like your ex-fiance wanted the glory but none of the work. He wanted to take in his brother and receive praise for taking in the poor boy, without ever actually having the responsibility of raising a child. And not only that, but he doesn't even want to contribute to the financial cost of his brother. If the roles were reversed, would he be happy to spend the extra $1,100 per month for your family member to live with you? He's not choosing his brother over you. He gave her an ultimatum, never even thinking she would leave. He thought she would bow her head and support him and raise his brother for him while he felt good about himself and went to school and didn't work. What actually happened is OP chose herself. So now Derek has to get a job no matter what, and will probably have to choose between his brother or school. My guess is he chooses school because he came off as a selfish, lazy idiot. What do you think? This right here. Now that he has to do it all by himself, who wants to bet that he suddenly can't take the kid in anymore? Then he's gonna try and get OP back since the kid is no longer an issue. The dude is selfish and he deserves to be alone. OP, you go get that cat and live your best life. Ultimatums never work out. And honestly, you're so right that his attitude says that you would have been responsible for everything in the future. My fiance, male 27, and I, female 27, are getting married in early April. We're planning a big wedding with the help of both of our parents financing. We invited all our friends and family, including our siblings and their kids. My fiance and I are very excited about our wedding. Regarding the dress code, my fiance and I are very laid back. We just want people to dress up in a suit, dress, or something else fancy. We couldn't care less about the color or design and encourage our guests to dress creatively, colorfully, or over the top. My fiance and I are both creative people. I'm an art teacher and he works in advertising. We want people to express themselves, and while we're okay with traditional color wedding outfits, we only want them being worn if it's truly something our guests like. I have many siblings and many nieces and nephews. My older sister and her husband, both 40, have 6 kids. I still live close to all of my siblings, so my fiance and I have a close relationship with them and know that they're excited about our wedding. My young teen nephew is a good kid, has great grades, and is the athlete of the family. As with most middle school boys, dressing up in a suit isn't exactly his favorite thing to do, and about a month ago, my sister called me, telling me he was giving them issues when suit shopping, so I sat down with him and talked to see if everything was okay. He said he didn't like anything he saw, and I told him to ask his friends for advice. About a week after, I got a text from my nephew asking what I thought of his outfit idea. He wanted to go with a sports theme. He wanted to wear a normal dress shirt and pants, but for his blazer, have his favorite NFL team on it, a lacrosse tie, and baseball cufflinks. He found all this online and sent links. He told us his mom said no, and then asked my opinion on it. I showed it to my fiance, and we both agreed it was acceptable, and we'd love to see him in it if that's what made him happy. A few hours later, I got a call from my sister, asking why I would approve it after she said no, and complained about how the outfit could reflect on her, and how my nephew needed to learn proper wedding attire. So I asked her and my nephew out to lunch the next day so we could settle it out. We went out to lunch, and my nephew and sister were explaining how his friends recommended it, and how he wanted to express his love for sports after explaining it to him that this isn't normal wedding attire. Still, my fiance and I wanted people to be creative, so my sister agreed to buy it, and they just got all the stuff in the mail, and he loves it. My sister is still upset at me for trying to overrule her parenting, and when talking to one of our other siblings, male 38, he agreed with her that I had overstepped my boundaries. My fiance and I are just happy nephew found a nice outfit that he likes. Am I the idiot? He told us his mom said no. You are the idiot. This is classic kid behavior, running to another resource. Mom versus dad, parents versus grandparents, etc. when you've already been given your answer. Your response at most should have been, well, let me touch base with your mom about it. And even that might be crossing the line for her, depending on your history here. As a mom, I just saw a money issue. Something like a suit is something I'd want to buy for my son for multiple occasions. The cufflinks and lacrosse tie I would be okay with. However, the NFL suit jacket I would have said no to them as well. Although it's perfectly acceptable for your wedding, it would not be in the case for a funeral. or say a confirmation at church. You are the idiot for prioritizing being the cool aunt right off the bat, without considering that your sister's concerns might not just be her being uncool or uptight, but trying to be practical and a good parent, and think beyond the one occasion of your wedding. Parenting is having to think 10 steps ahead, and you just made her life way more difficult because you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting she does and can just think about the fun parts. You owe her an apology. Won't a young teen outgrow a suit in like 6 months anyway? Look, the kid went to the event organizer and cleared the dress code with them. Isn't that what an adult is supposed to do? That's how you get kids who have safe spaces to explore their creativity. The actual people getting married wanted people to have fun and be creative and approved of the outfit. You'd have a point if this wedding required him to be dressy. My mom got remarried after my parents' divorce, and her new husband brought along my stepsister. I lived with my dad mostly because I didn't want anything to do with a new sibling and had no relationship with her. I hated that my mom treated her like a daughter. I wasn't the nicest to her, but I felt like she was taking my place. Fast forward to now and she's getting married. I wasn't invited since we have no relationship. Whatever, I didn't invite her to mine either. The issue is I'm planning my daughter's first birthday, and when I told my mom, she said it couldn't be that day because it's my stepsister's wedding, and can we change it to the next weekend so people don't have to choose which to go to? I said no. My stepsister's wedding is at 8 p.m., and my daughter's birthday is at 1 p.m. People can do both, but almost everyone on my mom's side RSVP'd no to my kid's birthday party because of the wedding and travel. Even my own mother said she couldn't make it because she'd be at stepsister's wedding and getting ready all day. I'm angry about how she can choose a stepdaughter over her own grandchild. Everyone is picking this girl who isn't even really family over my daughter. My mom says just to change the party, but I think it's ridiculous that they can't do both and won't change my schedule for my stepsister. And my daughter will be the one to suffer when none of her family's at her first birthday party. Am I the idiot? My mom is taking on the mother role in the wedding since stepsister's mother died giving birth to her, which I'm also not happy about. So stepsister's mom died in childbirth, and OP is annoyed that her mom decided to be a mom to a kid who lost her own mom? Holy smokes! She's considered your mother's child whether you like it or not, and you might need to move past it. How horrible of a person do you have to be? OP, you are the idiot, again and again. You know it, we know it, everyone knows it. People aren't simply going to do both events. Very few people want to come to a 1-year-old's birthday party and then go to an adult wedding. You knew about the conflict and went ahead with it anyway, despite the fact that moving it would not affect your child in any way. You're trying to play the victim here when this is all under your control. Please seek therapy. Yep, first birthday parties are solely for the parents. The children have no clue what's going on. They have no concept of what a birthday is. Your daughter will not suffer because her family isn't present. Your daughter will have no idea what's going on and no memory of her first birthday party. She has no concept of time, so reschedule to a different day, as requested, if it's so important for your family to attend. Your daughter will suffer as she gets older because you're petty and have unresolved issues that should be dealt with in counseling. In addition, your daughter will suffer if you attempt to weaponize her as an instrument in your guilt in your war with your stepsister. Grow up.